welcome to Sunday morning. We came in with the breeze on Sunday morning because it's episode 19 and it's all about the 90s. You're watching 21st Century Rocker Mom podcast, and we have a returning guest, Miss Fallon BOWMAN. Hi, good morning.
Buongiorno.
Sunday morning.
Sunday morning.
Oh, good. Slow clap. Yes.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
I'm well.
How are you
Thank
doing?
you. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm really good. I'm glad to see you in the morning.
Yeah, it feels good. I'm a morning
Yes.
person generally.
I'm a morning person too.
Yeah.
In the night, I just want to
people- when I tell people that, generally they're always like, really? Like, aren't like,
but they don't believe you?
yeah, we're like rock star people. Aren't you generally like night people? I'm like,
Rock star
no.
people, and like you're like they stereotype you because like you are child free. I don't say my friends who don't have kids because that's like really like offensive, but
Yeah.
because child free is like a choice, right? It's like a response. It's a response, and I think being a parent, it's a responsible thing. Like if you don't want to, if you want to be child free, I think that's responsible. Like,
Yeah, especially like
because there are so many people bringing children into this world that are not responsible. So, oh my God, make the right choice, people. But I'm not here for your parenting. But it's episode 19. So it's episode 19, 1991, 1990, all the 1990s.
Oh my God, all of the nines.
Oh my God. Because who the hell else would I talk to about the 90s than you?
My God.
You and Rob McCallum are the only two people in my life that like I think love that decade more than anyone, and me.
Yeah, the 90s, I think we look back on it with so much reverence because in some ways, because we grew up in it, the 90s are our generation 60s in so many ways.
Absolutely.
We look back on it, it's like, you know, it had the best clothes, it had the best music, it had, you know, it just had so, maybe it didn't have all of the like the political stuff necessarily.
It was a little lighter, yeah.
A little lighter on that, but
yeah,
all the other stuff, we certainly had all of that. And I just remember feeling all of the warm fuzzies when it came to that kind of thing.
Yeah, and because I think too, because of our age, like in the 90s too, you don't have as many worries because if you think about our age at the time, there weren't as many responsibilities for us personally. I know with our age, there weren't as many responsibilities. I mean, like nothing was responsible. You could smoke in the mall. Cigarettes, just walking like this. Like this seems like to people who are younger that are watching this. I mean, I'm talking under. Okay, how old would you have to be to not remember smoking in the mall? Probably folks in their 20s.
Like right
I would
now?
say right now. Yeah, right now. Any person who
Anybody
is probably
born in the 90s, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Yeah, anyone born within the 90s probably would not remember smoking in the mall and smoking in shopping malls, and likely not. And like being like ashtrays on tables. Like, I mean, yesterday I posted a picture of us and Kitty sitting in A&W in Westmount Mall, and there was an ash, like we weren't using it, or me, I probably was, but
Yeah.
but sorry, Mom, but there's an ashtray sitting in the middle of the table, and it's like there was smoke everywhere you went in the 90s was purple. There was like a purple haze, and it wasn't weed smoke, it was cigarettes.
Remember anybody that had a car? We would drive also to, I think it was the Husky, either the Husky or there was like a truck stop just outside of London.
Yeah.
I think it was called the Husky or something like that. There was a
truck
stop
stop
just outside of London, and we would go to there as well because you could smoke there as well inside.
Yeah, you could smoke inside the Husky truck stop, and you could just sit there and have breakfast and whatever. And
it was, I think that was also influenced by movies as well.
Movies and like music.
Don't go telling me that movies did not influence that, like sitting there in a coffee shop or in a truck stop or whatever, sitting there and smoking, because it did.
Pulp Fiction, just smoking it up.
Your 90s movies.
Like anything Quentin Tarantino. Yeah, anyone smoking in a truck stop, diner, smoking it up. But it's like also like the 90s, everybody think about the 90s makes you want to smoke. It's it's like everyone's smoking. Like I watch movies from the 90s and like everyone's got a cigarette in their hand. Like it ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Like here's both of us with like chronic asthma, right? Like everyone's smoking. So I'm watching TV like coughing my ass off because I'm like, what? It's smoking now because like now really it's kind of a weird concept. I don't really know many people that smoke cigarettes anymore.
Cigarettes? No.
90s was it was just big on smoking. Weed, everybody fucking smokes weed now because it's legal like everywhere. But
Vaping now.
cigarettes, hmm?
Mm,
What is it? What do you say? Smoking
but
now?
like I'm just saying that like people vape now.
Oh yeah, they vape now because like smoking's taken on a new evolution. Now smoke went to vape.
It's
But
just like
like
a
I just
but
purple.
going back to like smoking cigarettes. Yes, cigarettes was
Oh.
like I still have, I don't know where it is. It's probably
Sure.
in my, I have multiple memorabilia boxes, but
You're so
like
original.
most of my like autographs from
Mm-hmm.
bands and whatnot are on Du Maurier, the slips. You know, on
Oh,
cigarette came in a thing like this.
yeah, like the cigarette
Can't see it.
pack.
I'm sorry for people that are listening. It came in like a little box, but there's a slip that came over top of the cigarettes itself, and you slide it out. That
Like with the, and they take the cigarettes out of the foil.
take the cigarettes out of the foil. That slide that it came out of, you can unfold it, and the inside is white. The inside that's white is what you would give to bands to sign. I'm like, oh yeah, sign my slide. Like that is 90%
awesome.
I would give to people. Sign my slide, my cigarette slide.
You're like smoke pack, and then but like it was like
yeah.
everyone smoked. It's like I was looking at pictures like in the 90s like the other day, and I was like going through like old albums, and it was like people that like I never actually remember them smoking, and then here they are in this picture with like a cigarette in their hand. I'm like, what the fuck? And like I'll send it to them, and they'll be like, yeah, I smoked briefly in the 90s, and I'll be like to the person, I'm like, I never knew you smoked. They're like, oh yeah, like occasionally with a beer. I'm like, well, I kind of feel like that was like everyone.
Oh,
And it was, and if you
like one, but
yeah.
never, no one, there were, how many people do you know in the 90s that just like bought a pack? Rarely.
Oh God, but bought a pack to like split with their friends that would last like 3 weeks.
Like, it would be so stale.
From Flittons. Like I would like walk to Flittons in Byron, which is now like some like optometry place. We'd all walk in, and one of us would go in. It's not like we'd have to like draw straws because everybody knew that we were underage and didn't give a fuck, and would just sell us cigarettes anyways. Because the 90s, there was also a store in Westmount that used to do that. It was called A&J Mini Mart. It was in that Westmount Plaza by my house. A&J or K&J, but they'd sell us smokes. So I'd go in there and get a pack of Du Maurier special mild fucking extra long king size bitch sticks, and
we got the like the regular size, the small ones
with the orange filters.
Yes,
and I remember
because we called it fishing. We would sometimes stand outside and we would profile people as they would come in to see who we could fish for.
Oh yeah.
And to see who would actually buy it for us, either somebody's older sister or whatever, or like, oh yeah, so-and-so's older sister will do it. Oh
yes, so-and-so's older sister's cool. She'll totally fucking buy a smoke.
Oh yeah, there's Buddy. Buddy will do it. Whoever. But
fishing was huge in the 90s.
Yeah. That, oh my God, someone should make a movie about that.
About fishing. Or kids that fished in front of the liquor store. Because like now, like, so the thing for us was trying to get booze in the 90s, like being like, hey, you think that guy will buy us a case of beer? Or like trying to dial a bottle and get it delivered to your house. Like without them IDing you somehow.
Yeah.
So we used to have this, thing where we dial for beer or whatever. But now what I heard with the pandemic because of masks, kids that are underage, I can't believe I'm fucking saying this, are getting like walkers and like things for that older people would use in like old age homes for modality. And like putting on wigs and dressing up as like super old people and going to the liquor store. And this is how they are getting their booze and shit. They don't fish. They don't ask fucking Johnny Two-Tone to go in there and buy them a 26 or a Captain Morgan's. they fucking dress up like fucking B. Arthur and they get their ass into the goddamn LCBO. And so the LCBO wasn't checking IDs because these ladies look like they're 80. So now they checked the one ID of the girl and she was like 17. Could you imagine going over to your
Wow.
grandma's house being like, can I borrow your walker? She'd be like, what for, dear?
I
Like,
mean,
none of your business.
if that's what if that's what it's come
Oh my
to, I
God.
guess they're
That's
just a
extreme
little bit more
measures.
ballsy, right?
That's all the ball. I didn't have that kind of balls when I was a kid. I waited for like either someone's parents to like make booze and we would steal it, or like kind of getting alcohol bottles from other people's parents' bars and then filling them a little bit up with water from like what you
Water.
took.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was like a pussy with like totally like fishing in
No,
front
I
of the
would
beer
never.
store.
That's ballsy. Like going
I
in and
couldn't
just
do it.
being like, because you can you get arrested for doing something like that? Like,
I think the
like
person at the time
attempting.
in the 90s when we could have done it, like I think the person buying the beer for the minor would be in trouble. I think. I think you
Hmm.
might be in possession of some kind of property, but I don't know what the charge would be. I'm not the police. I
Oh,
don't know, but like
whoop,
I know that
whoop.
would be contributing to the delinquency of a minor. You know,
Oh,
that would be that. Of course I would know that.
uh-huh.
Jesus. Oh, Christ. Oh my God. So to get into the 90s mode, I was
Okay.
listening to, of course, I was like, Alexa, play 90s essentials. Because like I had all my CDs out, but I didn't want to listen to one thing. I'm like, what does Alexa think is essential? Oh, the first thing that came on was Hypnotize by
Nice.
Notorious B.I.G., which was
Great
amazing,
song.
right? Because to
Yep.
me, all I could, I was in the bath, of course, because where the fuck else would I be at fucking 6 o'clock in the morning in the bath,
Mm.
just chilling out, meditating it up to Hypnotize, obviously, because, you know, that's just the most calming song ever. But all I could see was the video in my mind. And that was one thing about the 90s for me that was huge. Like knowing the music and hearing it, but always visualizing the video. And it's not a lot of music that I can do that with, except 90s music because of like MTV and Much Music. Like,
God, how much like the ubiquity of music videos for me,
mhm.
like it was such a huge part, and you're right, like it was such a huge part of music for me because that's how I discovered a lot of the music as well.
Mhm.
Like especially for metal,
Big
like
time.
music,
The
like Much
shows like
Music
on Much
Loud.
Music. Loud was
Like
fucking amazing.
Loud was amazing because their programming was really, really good.
Mhm.
And I discovered a lot of bands that I would never have heard of through that
Yeah.
program.
And you could
Um,
see like Beavis and Butthead, like in between like MTV era, like Beavis and Butthead in between clips, they'd always have metal bands. They'd always like, how the fuck would I have learned about Guar if it wouldn't have
yeah,
been for Beavis and goddamn Butthead?
yeah. I
Well,
would
fuck.
never. I'm like, who the fuck is this? Like, what is this? Or
I'm like,
like, um,
what's going on
uh,
here?
or even yes, or Slayer, or like Nazem. Remember, we would hear
Yeah.
like Nazem or Nile or any of those really
Like
insane bands.
today's the
Who is
day. Those like
this?
really crazy, like new metal, but new black metal bands when they just started to really genreify metal and really break it up.
Yeah,
'Cause I remember when metal was
yeah,
just like fucking, there was metal and there was like heavy metal.
yeah. So
And now it's like
for
so many genres.
now it's just insane. But
I
in
can't keep
terms of
up.
like kind of more mainstream stuff, totally.
Sure. Oh, you can
Like
see it.
you can see it. Like how like bands like No Doubt, like all of
Oh, Jesus.
their oh my god. All of their music videos.
All their music videos are a fucking home run. I will say
It's
that.
just chef's kiss. So good.
Oh,
Um
it's in like terms of like set design, in terms of like concept,
colorful, beautiful, just Gwen.
always
Oh
good. Has she aged?
no.
Is she drinking
I mean
baby blood? Like
she's
what the
been
fuck?
but in a
Really?
lovely,
I
gorgeous way.
I would say it looks like she hasn't. That's the plastic surgery that like you want to have, where it looks like you haven't had plastic surgery. It just looked like you've aged gracefully as fuck. She looks
I need that
21.
number. I need that number. Once
Who?
I hit, she's
Who?
50, 50 something.
51. 51. I learned that on TikTok at yesterday o'clock.
Remember
And
what I
what
said
the
when you
fuck?
sent me that for the was it for spider webs or something?
Yeah, it was for spiderwebs. It's like, tell
And
me, like,
people
no
all hating on
doubt.
her, and I'm like, man, I want to punch all the haters in those comments
Because like
because y'all don't know
we
her.
grew up like you all don't know Gwen like we know Gwen. Fuck
Yeah,
you.
fuck you. I don't care what music she does. She cannot do wrong in my head. I'm sorry.
I love
Love
her
her.
new slow clap video. I mean, because it is 90s. Like I love it because it's nostalgic. Like she's out of school. She's having so much fun.
Yeah, and I
Like
just
she's
love seeing
just
her happy.
fun.
That's all I care
Oh,
about. Just love seeing her
exactly. Like,
smile and just being like, ah, love her. I
and
could
I love, no doubt, definitely
fangirl
like
over her all day.
top 90s like band and like influence.
Oh, love her.
100%.
Project Kingdom, so good. Okay, anyway,
Like that knocks it the fuck out of the park. But yeah, all their videos completely like I can see them all in my head, like the Sunday morning video and like sitting at the table, like having everybody having spaghetti and on that tight ass piccolo snare. Adrian Young just fucking going crazy. You love Adrian Young.
yeah.
Hats off to our 90s crushes. Hats
Yeah.
off to the 90s crushes. Oh my
And
god.
those little devil horn
That he did with his hair.
Yeah.
With like
So
he probably
good.
did it with
I
the what do
love
they
that.
call it? Dippity doo. The boys that put the
Old
dippity doo in their hair.
WDs.
Dep,
Oh man.
Dep
And then
gel.
they were just the music video, I think in the 90s reached its peak.
It was excess. They had so much budget for those fucking videos. Like even like look at Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. Like I'm like I mean everyone's like, "Oh, that was like the grungiest, dirtiest video ever." They probably just like sat in a gym. I'm like, "Do you know what the production value was to that fucking video? Like do you know what that probably cost?" But these were the 90s were the days where record companies were giving bands like bajillion-dollar contracts. Like, this is the shit that does not happen anymore for people that want to get educated about the 90s. Like record companies had money. It's not like now where musicians are going broke trying to feed themselves or try to put out an album, trying to balance their art. They're like working, 20 bazillion day jobs to try to do their real job, which is being an artist.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that in the 90s. It was easy. It's a horrible thing to say, but it was easy. The music scene was easy. Things were easy.
I mean, it is crazy because I've heard Kurt talk about that particular music video and like his vision for that video and how he wanted it to look and how it ended up looking and how it still didn't end up really looking like he wanted it to. And I'm just like, oh my God, he wanted it to look completely different. And I'm like, okay, well, I really wanted to know actually what he wanted it to look like originally.
Yeah.
Like what his actual vision what his actual vision would have been, because what it was is very interesting because it did have a low budge quality to it, but
it did. It's supposed to look
done,
sludgy.
But it was grungy in a way. But then when you look at something like in Bloom's video, which is exactly what he wanted, which was really cool. It had a cool concept to it. But it was also the budget was really high. Like that must have cost a lot of money to make that happen because it was based what was it based? What was the show that
Ed Sullivan.
Ed Sullivan, thank you.
It was based on the Ed Sullivan show. It was almost like the budget that like Weezer had to have to do like the Buddy Holly video in the Happy Days. Like garb, right? Like of course Weezer was
also
on
a 90s video, but very, very well made.
Like, and again, as soon as I hear Buddy Holly, I'm just like, what's with his homies dissing my girl? I'm just like, I'm like, what? And all I can think of is the fucking video, and it's right there in my head. And like, I might not be able to remember what I had for breakfast.
Did you, when you first saw that saw that video, were you? I was confused at first because I was like, "What is this? Did this actually happen?"
Yeah,
Because
for
it
a
was
second.
like,
Well, because I didn't know anything about video production.
wait, huh? What is it?
Uh-huh.
Huh? This
I was a bit like, it threw me for a loop for sure, because I was like, how
because
did we
I
get
used to watch
here?
Happy Days when I was a kid, and I was like, oh, wait, so did the did they use
Joni
some?
loves Chachi. What the fuck's going on? Hey, what the fuck's going on
Hey.
here? Like, the Fonz is gonna come in any second. Like, no, it was strange because I'm like, how did they go in a time machine? Of
Yeah,
course, because this is like
I was
young
confused.
young
Not gonna,
us. It was totally confusing.
yeah, yeah.
I'm glad. And then there was like Bush videos, which were like fun. Bush were fun. And I
Little bit.
loved, my guilty pleasure was like the Spice Girls. God damn it, I love the Spice Girls.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I still love the Spice Girls,
Oh
but
no,
that
I'm not
can
gonna
we
lie either. I was listening to them all day yesterday.
the wannabe video literally just being one long shot of them going through this like long like
Just
if I
running.
remember correctly, it's just one long shot of them going through like weird fun house.
Yeah, like it's a funhouse building. I don't know.
Let's see what the budget
Find
for
it.
that one was.
Let's see, how much did Wannabe cost? Or the one they
How
did in the desert. Oh my god. Say You'll Be There. What the fuck was the budget for that one? Trixie fucking, and they all had like superhero names. That I loved the Spice Girls. I loved Spice World when that movie came out.
Ice World
I
was?
dressed
I went to
up.
see it in theaters.
So did you? Oh, you did. We didn't go to see that one
Yeah,
together. I know we didn't, but like
no.
I dressed up as fucking Emma because my hair was not red at that time.
Okay,
And
remember I came to see you. I
oh
came to
yeah.
see you after I got my hair dyed red. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
I told the story many times, but I came after I went to go see Julie. I came to your house and I was crying because I got my hair done like Jerry and I looked terrible. And I was like,
This doesn't look like Jerry.
and you're like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Why don't you just get it dyed all red then? And I'm like, okay, okay. And then she fixed it, and then it looked
And then it
okay.
looked badass.
Yeah, and then it looked
It looked
fucking
so
fine.
fucking awesome. But like, oh, but at the time it was like, well, it's our hair. Like, fuck. Like, what are
I
we gonna
got my hair
do?
done like Jerry because I love the Spice Girls. Okay, so how
Oh
much
god, this
did
Spice was
the Wanna Be video cost?
my favorite. What's gonna be? How much is gonna be the budge? Oh my god, I did a reface app where I made my face go on all the Spice. I'll have to send it to you. It's ridiculous. I put
What?
my face on all the Spice Girls' bodies. I had nothing to do. To the Say You'll Be There video, I sent it to our friend Abby, who also has a mutual love of the Spice Girls. If there's anyone who loves the Spice Girls as much as we do, that girl knows every. I'm wearing all her fucking jewelry, by the way. Look at this. She made me this.
Oh,
It looks like
that's cool.
Shira. Yeah, she does Abby Darling Customs now. If anyone likes the Spice Girls, that girl knew all the moves to the stop dance, like the stop right now.
Love
Thank
that
you very
song.
much. She knew every fucking move to the dance in the video. I couldn't memorize it because I don't have that kind of memory. Like fuck. The Spice Girls had some shit. Like they rehearsed like Britney, bitch.
Sorry, we're just trying to
Cost so
find
much
this
money that it broke the
information.
fucking internet. They can't tell you how much it costs because it's such an obscene dollar amount.
I'm telling you, it's got to be an obscene amount.
I don't even know what, because number one, it's going to be in euros probably because it was filmed in the UK. That video, because they're like
Which one?
walking up the
Wannabe?
cobblestone streets like in their
No, it was
heels.
filmed in London, so pounds probably, yeah.
Oh, pounds, because it wouldn't be the
Because the video was intended to be taken in one shot, the group rehearsed the routine several times through the night. One shot, one continuous shot. So you had
Oh my
one
god,
chance. That's
fuck
it.
that.
Oh
Oh
my
my god, one take Spice Girls. What? My respect for them has
It doesn't
grown
even
even
say.
more.
So that just tells you it's got to be in the millions at least.
It's
Oh,
got to
obviously,
be. Oh
it's gotta
yeah,
be
for sure,
sure.
for sure.
Anyway,
Videos that, oh, that and like Mariah Carey videos. Those must have cost like $1 bajillion.
Remember Honey?
Oh,
And it's
fuck.
just like
Honey. I was like, I was more like
another
for
one of
like
my
fantasy. I was like fantasy with like old dirty bastard, like Mariah Carey. Hey Mariah, like seriously. Like that's the kind of like Mariah Carey that I like. I like it like dirty, like it like when I say one of my favorite 90s, I was like, I'm gonna go listen to my favorite 90s bands, and like Rob like expects me to be like upstairs like listening to like Bikini Kill and Veruca Salt, which I was to like which I do normally though, right? And like Bikini Kill and Veruca Salt and the Donnas and all the like the girl bands and Hole like that didn't influence me. But I like up there like listening to like I was listening to like Coolio.
Coolio, yeah.
I was listening to the Dangerous Minds soundtrack. Okay, sorry, that
Great,
movie fucking
great
ripped.
album.
And
But yeah,
the
even Veruca Salt,
soundtracks,
like Shutterbug.
oh fuck,
That
that was one bass line. Oh,
even that video.
oh my god,
That one was the one with when they were on the
unicycle cage dresses. It looked like I'm
yeah.
not sure who directed it, but it looked like a Floria Sigismondi production.
Oh, that's a good question.
Who directed the Shutterbug video? Because that video must have had such a budget because it was just so beautiful, and even the way they like because they were shooting it in different like modalities of film. Because that video for Veruca Salt was a bit more artsy because that song came out on 8 Arms. I got that album. I will never forget. Where was it? Who directed it?
Uh why does there not exist a Veruca Salt cover band?
Because no one is good enough to cover Veruca Salt. Because no one could fucking bring the sonic assault that is Nina and Louise.
You're right.
Jim and Steve, because like
You're
fuck
right.
that. And I mean, they had Stacy for a while with the drums, but then of course he went back to Letters to Cleo, and then no, and then I mean,
You're right. I'm
Veruca
sorry.
broke up
I'm
for a
sorry.
little while.
Said it.
It's okay. You did not tarnish the Veruca Salt thing. You know me and Veruca Salt. I remember you like coming over to my house as a kid, like, and I'd be like jamming on to Veruca Salt. I have my like PV amp in my room, and I'd be playing on my like Gibson because like Louise Post had one. So I had like a Gibson SG, like a 1976 custom. It was a fucking banger. I'd throw my PV on with like my Boss, like DOD fucking shitty grunge pedal. And we'd have.
It doesn't say.
Won't say?
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out who directed it.
I was like, holy shit. Because it took me a while to warm up to them because I preferred American Thighs over 8 Arms for whatever reason.
Well, the American Thighs is very grungy.
Yeah.
It's very grungy. And you are grunge #1 girl.
But I will say that it was a little bit more I don't know, it wasn't poppier.
No, it's huge because Bob Rock produced it. It was just fucking gigantic. That album is fucking like all I can say about it is it reminds me like a Motley Crue album. It's just like fucking. It's a fucking explosion. Yeah. 8 Arms to Hold You is an explosion of like it was actually based off of a working title for Help, which was the Beatles. Like when the Beatles released the movie Help and the album Help, because there was 4 Beatles. They were originally going to call the film 8 Arms to Hold You. But they didn't. They scrapped the working title, and Veruca Salt picked it up and used 8 Arms to Hold You as 8 Arms to Hold You when that came out. I got that fucking album in Quebec on CD. That was like one of like, I was in Quebec in grade 8 on a trip. And of course I'd heard Veruca Salt, and of course like my friends had like made me tapes and shit, but I didn't have the album for my like Discman or whatever. So we'd gone on a trip. In grade 8, it was like the end of the year trip. If you were good, you got to go to Quebec. And if you were bad, you got to go to Canada's Wonderland. I'm like, sweet. So if you're good, you can go to Quebec and learn about Canada, like history. And if you're bad, you get to go to fucking Canada's Wonderland and ride roller coasters. What the fuck? The fucking kind of shit is this? I want to be bad so bad. So Oh my God. So I go there and yeah, that's where I procured that CD in a Music World in like a mall. They like let us off the bus for like a little while, like with our grade 8 teachers. And I grabbed that CD and I fucking listened to it and I couldn't stop listening to it. And that like I was obsessed with that album. I knew it by the time we got home to like Ontario
Yeah,
because we drove
I believe
on the
it.
school bus. And I like that album was like everything for me. And then I got into
Yeah.
like L7 and well, I was already into Hole, as were you.
Yes. Live Through This changed me like you wouldn't believe. Like, because I had heard that like even way before I became even indoctrinated into metal, like
Oh
it was
yeah.
Nirvana and it was Hole because there was a like because I was I think in grade 6 or 7, and it was all the older kids at Southwood at the public school that I was at. There
Yeah.
was a girl there, a grunge girl, and she was wearing the iconic black shirt with the silver hole. And I was like, what is that? What's this?
Mhm.
And I was like a fucking horse girl. Okay. I was a fucking horse
Yeah.
girl. And I was like, oh, I don't know what that is, but I asked her, like, what does your shirt mean? She's like, oh, it's a band. What band is that? She's like, it's a band. The band is called Hole. And I had already seen that shirt at the store called Backstage Pass at the mall.
Oh, backstage
And
pass at the mall,
Backstage
baby.
Pass was for our American listeners, um, is I guess kind of like what do they have that's similar in the US? Like Spencer Gifts?
Spencer Gifts Hot Topic-y.
Hot
It's kind of
Topic?
hot. It's kind of Hot Topic-y. It's kind of like a
Yeah.
Hot Topic sort of store
And it was an
ish. Like
independent
you get
store
band
in
T-shirts there, posters. It was
yeah,
like a rock shop.
yeah, a rock shop,
Like they
kind
would
of like
call it
that.
like a rock shop generically. Belt buckles, like you could get weed pipes there, like before
Weed
weed was legal.
pipes,
Rolling papers, skateboarding shit.
black light stuff, that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
it
like
was really, like as soon as you walked by it, and it had always had loud-ish music and whatever. So I was always very
louder than
drawn.
the other stores. It was louder than the
Yes.
other stores. It was only the music stores and like the rock shops that played the loud music.
Yeah.
Everything else, or there was like some of the girl stores where they played the like. Like, I can't go into this store. I'm going to fucking die if I go in here.
Yeah, it was either
I
that
really
or
like these
Lush.
clothes, but I can't go into a fucking rave right now.
Yeah. And so I was always kind of drawn to it because I'm like, okay, it's really kind of like all the cool kids go in there, and I'm definitely not cool. Definitely a horse girl.
But you saw this
You know,
shirt.
but that shirt is freaking cool. I don't know what it is. And so then, and that was what piqued my interest. And from then
Really?
on, as soon as I heard Live Through This, I was like, it was over. It was over.
When I
Like,
went to
holy,
school,
yeah,
like it's over.
it's over.
And then like the Courtney Love obsession like begins, and the Courtney Love influence, and the whole kinder horror look and attitude, and the badassery, and the like feminism.
Hold the phone for a second, because
It's held. I'm
going.
holding it.
Hold the phone. Can we just start? How do you hold the phone? Remember for
I don't know.
touchstone
We'll
phones,
hold
there
the
was a way
phone.
to do it. Star.
Oh fuck. Star. Fuck.
Star
It wasn't
60. Star 69 was
it
to
was
call back the last number.
Star 67. I only knew that one because I was always like blanking my number out and prank calling people. You fuck. Remember that one person that we like prank called and like taped? I'll
Oh,
cut your fucking head off. He told us, I'll cut your fucking head off. We like took soundboards from like Robert De Niro. You fuck. This guy would call him up on the,
it was from
phone.
Kindergarten Cop, wasn't it?
Well, we got him once with Kindergarten Cop. He's like, hello, who's your daddy and what does he do?
Who's your daddy and what does
this
he
guy
do?
was drunk all the time. So there was a website in the 90s, of course, called soundboards.com. So we all had answering machines. So we used to hang around with these guys, and they were just friends of ours. And they were obviously friends of yours too. They're mutual friends. And they used to know that this guy that we hang around with, his dad was a really bad alcoholic and he used to drink and get fucking angry when he'd answer the phone. So they'd call him and then they'd record it on the tapes on the answering machine, but they'd use the sound bites from soundbites.com. So one day it was Kindergarten Cop. So they call him ring, ring. And I'll say the name, the guy's name was Joe Schmo. Hello? He's like, hello, my name is Officer John Kimball. And he's like, what? And like the guy's drunk as a skunk. And it's like the middle of the afternoon. Like, you know, already that's bad when you're drunk and it's noon and like argumentative drunk. Who is your daddy and what does he do? And like the next thing, the guy just like, fuck you. Who is your daddy and what does he do? Who the fuck is this? Like the guy's losing his shit on the phone. They got him with Arnold Schwarzenegger. They got him with Robert De Niro. They got him with so many. And then he was like, come on down. He like gave his address. 751 blah 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 street, motherfucker. You come down to my house and I'll cut your fucking head off, you fucking bum. And I remember listening to these CDs, even with you, over and because we like got the answer machine tapes and these boys that we hung out with, like burned them onto CDs for us so we could listen to them over and over again of them prank calling this fucking drunk guy. Like this was our 90s. We weren't bad kids, but
at the same time, it's like but it, you know, nothing has changed. People still do this kind of thing.
No, but now they Tide Pods on TikTok.
Yeah, now people just have TikTok, and now people just have like YouTube and whatever. But that's like now back then we burned it onto CDs.
Oh. And I think if I can find that CD, I need to like blank out the person's name and put it up because it's so fucking funny. I think at one time my uncle Stan borrowed it because you know he has the sense of humor of a 12-year-old boy. So he borrowed it and he was like, can I borrow that CD where you guys were doing all that prank calling? I'm like, he also borrowed the CD that this happened in the 90s that we got on tour. We played something called the World Series of Metal. Do you remember? It was like in Cleveland because I remember because they can't be called this anymore, I don't think, but the Cleveland Indians were playing. Mm-hmm. It was summer, it was hotter than fuck, and there was this vendor who had these CDs, and I went and got some sound effect CDs, and one of them, do you remember?
I think
one was called Porno Sonic.
What?
And one was called Porno Sonic, and the other one was called it's like Sexual Sounds of the Night.
Yes,
it was all like
I remember this. Yes, I remember it vaguely. That there was some like thing of like a collection of sounds or something like that. I remember vaguely
of orgasms in different languages.
Yes,
and like the French was like, oh oui, and like the German one was like, oh yeah, das ist gut, yeah. Oh yeah, das ist gut, yeah. And that's the one that Stan borrowed with the other CD of the fucking prank call. So he's got those two like fucking bangers.
Okay, no, we
somewhere
need to
at his house. I need to get them back after the pandemic because this was like borrowed like when I lived. Okay, this is borrowed before I had kids.
Oh, okay.
Who knows where the fuck they are, Stan the Man, but we'll find them.
Stan the Man. What I was gonna say
we'll find that shit.
That, the Kinderhor thing.
Yeah.
There's I was looking on TikTok and there's this trend going around trend going around about this girl being like, oh, I've discovered this new trend that we could start doing or whatever. Take your pantyhose, rip them up, and you can wear them as a shirt.
Shut your fuckhole, TikTok.
I was like, sorry, what? I'm like, we were doing that in the 90s. Like, no, we were doing that already.
I was ripping holes in my mom's pantyhose when she was already wanting. What the fuck?
We were already doing that. We were wearing them as
gloves and like
gloves.
Like we made our own gloves, like out of fishnet stockings, and like we ripped our own stockings. Like we didn't buy ripped jeans. Like we ripped our jeans. We cut things. Like we didn't buy like cut
made
shirts
our own
with
clothes
holes in them
all the time.
Yeah, I posted
that
a
is
picture
now...
the other day with remember that stupid shirt I made with fun fur?
Hey, it wasn't stupid. It was we all borrowed, and that was another thing that I wanted to talk about too. That
yes,
we all borrowed each other's clothes. That was like thing
Oh,
that we had no problem doing. Like, hey, can I borrow your shirt? Or hey, can I borrow this? And like
yeah,
that's something that I did in middle school, high
yeah,
school, and then I stopped doing it in university. But it
yeah.
was no
Same,
big
same.
deal.
Yeah, we never like it was never a question. It was just like, yeah, sure. Like I have many pictures of us like all together. We're like wearing each other's clothes. It's like, or I'll be wearing a dress. I was always wearing fucking a slip. So like anyone wanted to borrow my underwear. Like fuck.
Here, yeah,
Most
where?
of
No
my
big deal.
90s was spent in fucking lingerie. Not because I was out bangarang Peter, because mostly I was out playing in show. Well, most of the late 90s was spent in lingerie. Most of the early 90s was spent in panties because I was a
Yes.
child.
Panties. Yeah.
Probably like with days of the week on them or something.
Days of the new.
And my mom probably got like from Westmount Mall, which was like another thing that was huge in the 90s, which we're going to talk about now,
Yep.
is malls.
Malls.
Malls were huge. I mean, I know that people have been kind of going to the malls a little bit in and out for curbside sort of weird service. It's not like the mall is not what the mall was. Like people that go to the mall today that think that this is like the mall experience. I'm sorry, but you're not getting the mall experience.
No.
Have you been to a mall with mini golf in it? I bet you haven't.
No.
We have.
Yeah.
We have.
Or even a mall with there are still some malls, I will say, that
Cool malls.
retain some of that 90s or even 80s charm, I will say.
Edmonton.
Jackson Square in
Oh, Jackson
Hamilton,
Square.
Ontario
Yep.
does retain that. When I lived in Hamilton, I was like,
They're
wow,
nostalgic.
okay.
They're
They
nostalgic.
very nostalgic. Definitely has not lost that charm at all.
That's cool.
Very, very Galleria Mall, circa 1990.
Really? And that's the
Very much so.
style?
Yes.
I mean, like West Edmonton Mall is cool, like that. They have the roller coaster in the mall and the arcade and like cool
Yeah.
stuff like that. But that's
Ooh,
always been
the
like a
arcade
destination.
in Westmount.
Arcades. Wizard's Castle, man.
Yes.
Wizard's Castle was fucking in the corner there in the food court.
Yes.
Like
Yep.
by Mrs. Vanelli's and by Made
Yep.
in Japan. Yes.
Yep.
And on the other side was like a famous hamburgers place that
Yep.
sold deep fried ice cream.
Oh, wasn't
I
it
remember
A&W?
No, A&W after. It was called like there was a restaurant there called Classic Hamburgers. They did not last long. But I remember because my mom worked
in A&W.
Yes. My mom worked in the mall and like as did your mom.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like it was just 90s and my mom worked at like the Mercedes Club. She like worked in retail, like just ladies fashion store. She worked at Zellers or not Zellers. She worked at the Mercedes Club and like Susan J. And I always said they always had like a big Mercedes car in the window, like an old vintage Mercedes car.
Yeah.
And that was like another thing that was cool about the malls, like the way they used to dress their windows.
Yeah, that was big. Like the visual merchandising is always like before. If we're talking about the independent stores, independent retailers, like not the big ones.
No, not like the huge chains.
Talking about like, just what do you call them? Maybe excluding your Hudson Bays, even though Hudson Bay is
not like
one of
big box like stores, more independent, not like chain stores.
Yes, because my mom worked for Simpsons before.
Yes,
Simpsons was like, I don't know if Simpsons was bought out by HBC, but they were one of the longest running, I think, Canadian retailers alongside HBC. They might have been bought out by.
Yeah, Simpsons was around
also
forever.
Very old, long running Canadian retailers.
Simpsons and like Kresge's, like those were old Canadian businesses.
Yeah,
and King's Mills.
And King's Mills, same thing. Yeah.
Just old Canadian blood, really just an old company. But then again, like bought out by something. Like King's Mills got bought out by Fanshawe College.
And I'm pretty sure they're now up. So that building is now Fanshawe now.
Now being used as Fanshawe campus. So I know it's being used as more of an arts as an entertainment and culinary, I believe. They're doing something in that building there downtown. They've really done stuff to the core. Not like it matters. Downtown London is not so nice anymore. It's not like, again, like downtown, the mall, it's not like it was when in the 90s. It's not. It's somewhere where I don't want to take my kids. It's just
Oh.
not. It's just not. It's not safe. It's not safe because
We'll
there's
get there.
no well just there's nothing in place for harm reduction for the people that need it. So it's not safe because no one can get harm reduction. It's just a bad cycle, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Like even
it's
in, I
getting bad
mean,
for it here.
even in even in the 90s when we were growing up, like
Yeah.
there was Twinkie Lane, which was
Yeah,
like
Twinkie Lane.
the place where a lot of people like people that were experiencing homelessness, they would hang out
Mm-hmm.
there. Even people that weren't, people that were
Yeah.
our peers were hanging out in that area.
Or and people would go and like smoke weed there, and like once in a while, like people that sometimes there was vagrancy there, or there are certain folks that were facing addiction problems, maybe shooting up in a stairway or stairwell or something like that of that nature. Now it's just a lot more.
Yeah.
And I don't know because it's just more prevalent because there is, like I said, there's a lot less help for these folks, which blows. Like
And is
Twinkie
it worse
Lane
now
is
because of the
not.
pandemic? Or just
I have not been downtown like I say in a while because I haven't been since like last year for like a curbside pickup. But like what I did see made me like fucking sad. It made me sad. It made me like sad because there's like a lot of people suffering and there's not a lot of help out there. It fucking sucks. And like it's not like you want to force help on anybody, but like I'm 90% sure a lot of these people would take the help if
yeah,
it were
sure.
available. They're nice, something nice and comfy. So like the mall is not like it was like now. It's like it was an experience when we went to the fucking mall. Like
Yeah.
there was the food court. Like number one,
Food
you had
court. Manchu
all
Walk,
these
baby.
choices. Oh my god, Manchu Walk was so good.
You get that
And
noodles?
remember China Star for Toonie
Oh, China.
Tuesday?
Oh, yeah, there was China Star. Sorry, it wasn't
Because we
Manchu
had,
Walk.
well, no, Manchu Walk was at White Oaks. We always frequented different malls. So
Oh,
because
okay.
Westmount didn't have a Le Chateau, so we had to go to White Oaks, and that's where we
Yeah.
get Manchu Walk because they had a Le Chat. And
Yeah.
of course, we
Yeah.
had to shop at fucking Le Chateau.
Yeah, because Le Chateau was like the like where Montreal comes to us,
Exactly. And this is where all the
And
slutty clothes land. I
yeah,
need
the slutty
some.
clothes. And they were like, like pinnacle 90s in a lot of ways.
Oh, big time. Le
I
Chateau was
still
like fucking
have
huge.
my grade A grad dress was from Le Chateau, and it was
Okay, shut
literally a
up.
bodycon, skinny bodycon dress with like.
So was mine.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god,
still
so
have
mine
it.
was like red. I still have mine too. My
Yeah.
red and like skin fucking tight with white
Yep.
piping
Yeah,
across the
mine was with
booties.
white piping too.
Shut the front door. This is
Yes.
ridiculous. I'm posting my grade A grad picture from
Okay,
and
I'm
it's
gonna
my Le
ask my
Chateau
mom.
dress. I fucking kept it. I think it's up in my closet. Oh fuck yeah, but I've got my pictures. Oh my god, ridiculous. Grade A
Some of the
grad, but
girls
yeah, Le
went
Chateau
like
was
really
so.
crazy, but you went the same as me. Just
Oh yeah, I'm writing it down. Get that Le Chateau dress.
okay, mom.
Get that Le Chateau dress. Fucking kicking. I think it's hanging in my closet because I think Scarlett probably wanted to wear it or some shit. And I was like, no. Today she's like, I want to wear what you're wearing today. I'm like, no.
No.
Do you know why I wear animal print? Because I'm wild. And I know you are too, but you don't need animal print to tell us that.
Yep.
Oh my god. What were your favorite stores to like shop in at the mall? Because like a few of our friends like worked in stores, which is cool. We had like friends that worked at Carlton. We had friends that worked at like Claire's and like the jewelry stores. Like we had friends that worked in all kinds of stores. We had friends that worked at coffee shops and like
Yep.
what were your favorite stores to like shop in? Like for anything.
Ooh, for anything.
Anything. And what were your
Depending
favorite
on
stores?
which mall though are we talking about?
Okay, let's go Westmount. Sure, let's go Westmount.
Ooh. Okay. For bagels, you know which one.
Bagel, please.
Bagel, please, baby. Give me those bagels. Those bagels, though, came from oh my god. From
Did they come from Great Canadian?
Great Canadian Bagel.
She outsourced them from Great Canadian
She outsourced
Bagel?
those. Oh yeah, those are not her bagels.
Well, no shit, because the gentleman and his family who ran Great Canadian Bagel and a good friend of ours used to work there.
Yeah.
They made the best fucking bagels.
They were
and cream
fabulous
cheese.
bagels. The cheese on them, like the remember how like the cheese was like yay thick? maybe
Oh my
maybe
God.
about a half an inch thick on the bottom.
It still is. It still is. When you used to get the super bagels, because they were huge. Oh my
It was
God. All that
so
cheese.
good. And then like
You know what?
she would
I'm
slather
fucking
on
getting
that
free
butter.
Canadian bagel on Skip the Dishes. Fuck this shit.
So
We
good.
have a great Canadian bagel like around the corner from us, but I don't think they do curbside or anything. But I know they do Skip. I don't do Skip the Dishes often because it is a rabbit hole that I don't want to get stuck the fuck down.
So bad. I don't
For my
sometimes
wallet and
how did I
waistline.
get $60 worth of food? I'm one person.
Dude, you know what it is? Appetizers.
Yeah, I know.
Fucking appetizers. I order a bunch of different little things and
Yep.
then I'm like, $70 for Thai food? What the fuck did I just do?
Yeah.
I'm like,
But then
oh,
again, it lasts
what's
me
up?
like 3-4 days sometimes. So
But exactly.
okay.
So I'm like, you know what? Right now, me is just taking care of future me. It's not a
Yeah,
big deal.
exactly. Yeah, I got you, future Tanya.
See, future Tanya and future Fallon are fucking covered. But I remember going to the food court and getting like ridiculous. The food at the food court was ridiculous. I remember going to Chester's Chicken specifically when it was like
Chester's
split down the middle.
chicken.
It was after KFC closed down. There was a Chester's Chicken beside Orange Julius and Dairy Queen on that side by
Oh,
the
okay.
International News,
Yep.
by where there was like the wheelchair ramp to go up to the elevated part.
Yep.
Oh my God. So Chester's Chicken would, it was beside Taco Bell. They would line one of those green mall trays with like wax paper and fucking fill it with fries and gravy and cheese for $6. And I remember like 5 of us would just sit there and like go at it. There was a thing about the 90s, sharing food, sharing straws, getting the fucking kissing disease. Fucking
Mono.
mono was the 90s. Epstein-Barr virus, mononucleosis, kissing disease. Let's puff, puff, pass. Let's share cigarettes. Let's share joints. Let's share drinks. Let's share straws. Let's share food. Holy fuck. 90s was, there was so much fluid swappage in the 90s.
Wild.
Like,
Yeah.
that wasn't even sex.
Yeah.
It wasn't even
No.
sex fluid swappage. No one gave a fuck. There was no masks. There was no germs. Like, I'm astonished at how much exchange of moist conversation there was.
So true. And then like
There was so much moistness.
when in Westmount Mall, when did the movie theater come?
Oh, the
Later.
Westmount 6?
No,
It was in the 90s because
it was in the 90s.
It was because I saw Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet there, the remake.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
That movie's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Leonardo
and I don't even
DiCaprio
really like Leo that much.
and
I like him in
it's
that
just
movie,
like,
but
I love John
I love
Leguizamo
Claire
in that
Danes.
movie. Oh, Claire Danes.
John. Love
And
him.
of course, I'm not going to say this because I know my husband's going to be editing this. I shouldn't say this, but goddamn, Paul Rudd is Paris.
Paul Rudd. We stand Paul Rudd. I don't care what anybody says.
Paul Rudd's also drinking from the same fountain of youth as Gwen Stefani. What the fuck? It was his birthday the other day. He was 52.
Legit
What the
looks
fuck?
so good for his age. And like,
he's gonna be a supermodel. I was listening to the Clueless soundtrack too.
Dude, that came out in 1995.
Wait a minute.
Like, what?
I love Josh. No, I don't. I'm just kidding. Wait a minute. I love Rob. No, like seriously, like
And
that
Alicia
movie
Silverstone
was
too.
Oh my God, that was quintessential I know for you and me especially. That film was huge for us.
Me and my best friend at the time would quote that incessantly. Like her and I were Sharon Dion, like 100%. 100%. Lisa and Skinnicali make my backpack. Like 100%. We love that movie. And like that, and like, well, later on, even though I only discovered the movie later on in the 90s, like Hackers and
Hackers was great.
You know, Angelina Jolie made me feel some kind of way. I wasn't really sure. Like I was like,
she made me feel some kind of way too. I think it was called a girl boner.
I was like, I don't know how I feel. Yeah, there was just a lot of those 90s movies that were just so there was
like
so
Girl Interrupted. That was Oh,
too.
Empire Records. Rob just watched that for the first time. I don't know how he missed that 90s movie. He's seen like every movie there is. Him and I talked about this. Yeah, he just watched it for the first time through 38-year-old, 39-year-old eyes, like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
I'm
And he was
curious,
like,
did he was like, I don't get it, or
dude, he was so happy. It just like brought him to like this happy place. It like filled his bucket. He was just like sitting there with just like a just giant grin on his face like the whole time. He just like loved it. He just
it's so
loved
funny
it.
because I had showed it to someone else who's
Mhm.
roughly around the same age, and they're like, it's terrible. I don't get it. I'm like,
Really?
but
I think
but
maybe
that
it's because Rob's so music sensitive and he like grew up
yes,
loving music stories and he loved music and he loved it the way we did. Like he
yeah,
fucking worshipped bands like we did. We worshipped bands. We worshipped music. Like we
yeah,
prayed at the altar of fucking rock and roll and
yeah,
punk and metal and whatever and then new metal
yeah,
came.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and then we prayed at that. That's a totally different thing. But
yeah.
I think that's why he liked it so much. He was just like, yeah, this was totally like he was into the things that we were into like when we were teenagers. Like we loved like the Much Music I and I's like for us for like
Oh,
even
I still have
for
them.
MTV
Those are
Unplugged. Like
mm,
anyone that was in the Much Music environment
yeah.
shedding their skin off like fucking
Shoplifter.
oh my god. What was your favorite Much Music I and I? Who was your favorite band to see in the environment when they had it all dressed up?
Silverchair.
With Silverchair?
Yeah.
You say Silverchair? My son does that. That mom.
Silverchair.
I'm not gonna lie, mine was No Doubt. I loved all
Oh,
the oranges
okay.
hanging from the trees and like
They did a
how they made it all.
fantastic job.
The set
Like
designs were ridiculous.
I'm surprised they don't do that kind of thing anymore. Do they
I
do
just don't know.
am I just
They
mis-
don't like. I just don't understand like where music has gone. I feel like all that stuff. Like I don't know where it went because I feel like one day all of that stuff, like including like grunge, and it wasn't even like the day like Kurt Cobain died or anything like that. It wasn't like a date and there wasn't a time and there wasn't a like an event or anything like that. I feel like one day all that stuff just like died. It didn't just like slowly fritter away. I feel like all of a sudden that wasn't a fucking thing anymore. This is end of part 1. And you guys are going to have to wait until next week until you hear the next part. So you know where to find me. I'm at 21st Century Rocker Mom on Instagram, on Twitter. I am at Tanya Candler. You can find me on my ridiculous fucking TikTok being an asshole at 21st Century Rocker Mom. Fallon, where can they find you?
You can find me at Fallon Bowman on Instagram, at Fallon Bowman, pretty much everywhere else. If you want to find me for my music stuff, it's at Fallon at Amphibious Assault or at Amphibious Assault on Instagram. So yeah.
And obviously I'll be posting all these links too.
Yeah.
So that is end of part 1. So you know what we did in the 90s? Now you motherfuckers get to flip the tape over next week. So you'll get side B next week.